Lovely evening to you and welcome to our QTV main news at 19. Here are the headlines. President of the Republic of India, Sri Ram alleged chemical attack in Syria as Western leaders consider what action to take. With the news in detail, my name is Machamanda. President of the Republic of India, Sri Ram Kovind, has arrived in Zambia for a 3-day state visit. It is the first time in 3 decades that a president of India is undertaking a state visit to Zambia. The presidential plane touched down at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport at 14:26 hours Zambian time. President Kovind is accompanied by First Lady Savita Kovind, senior government officials, and a business delegation. He was received at KKIA by President Edgar Lungu, First Lady Esther Lungu, Patriotic Front PF Secretary General Davis Mwila, cabinet ministers, service chiefs, senior government officials, heads of missions accredited to Zambia, and Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kabijimpanga, among others. President Kovind inspected a full guard of honor and was accorded a 21-gun salute. He was accorded a 21-gun salute mounted by the Zambia Army. During the state visit, President Edgar Lungu and his Indian counterpart will hold bilateral talks and witness the signing of several memoranda of understanding (MOUs) between India and Zambia aimed at enhancing cooperation in various sectors, including the establishment of Entrepreneurship Development Institute in Zambia, taxation, visa exemption on diplomatic passports, and judicial cooperation. President Kovind and President Lungu will also officiate at a groundbreaking ceremony of the decongestion of Lusaka roads, which will result in flyover bridges. The Indian president leaves Zambia on April 12, 2018. Zambia has enjoyed excellent relations and cooperation with India, with support accorded to Zambia on a bilateral level as well as under the framework of the India-Africa Forum Summit in the fields of energy, health, infrastructure, capacity building, agriculture, and trade, among others. Private investment in Zambia by Indian companies currently stands at over $5 billion in sectors such as mining, infrastructure, manufacturing, and pharmaceuticals. There has been a steady increase in bilateral trade, which stands at $1.2 billion from April 2017 to January 2018. India is an important strategic partner in the quest of the Patriotic Front PF government to deliver development to the Zambian people, as articulated in the 7th National Development Plan. The Supreme Court sitting in Kabwe has given guidance that the former ruling party MMD's application be heard in the Constitutional Court instead as per normal procedure and will, as guided, be filed with the Constitutional Court. Last year, Lusaka High Court Judge Mwinde Siavwapa deferred the ruling on an application for stay of proceedings pending appeal to the Constitutional Court in a matter involving a leadership struggle between MMD faction leader Felix Mutati and Dr. Nevas Mumba. A faction led by Dr. Mumba challenged Mr. Mutati from holding themselves as members of the MMD on grounds that they had been expelled and suspended from the political party. MMD National Secretary Raphael Nakachinda filed a notice of appeal to the appeals court arguing that he was dissatisfied with the ruling of Justice Siavwapa when he refused to refer to the Constitutional Court an issue which had arisen. Mr. Nakachinda argued in his submission that the appeal to the Constitutional Court had prospects of success as it was not frivolous or vexatious, and that, therefore, Justice Siavwapa should stay his decision. And the Supreme Court sitting in Kabwe today ruled that the matter be referred to the Constitutional Court and that it's not up to them to guide anyone to apply to the Constitutional Court. The Supreme Court has directed that the appellant in the case which Mr. Mutati appealed to the Supreme Court detain jurisdiction of the High Court in a constitutional matter should be taken to the Constitutional Court as it is the right forum to address the grievances of the parties. Supreme Court judges Hamaundu, Malila and Makungu Holden in Kabwe said the appeal should have gone direct to the Constitutional Court because it had the jurisdiction on the constitutional issues. The judges have said the appellants should not have taken the appeal to the Supreme Court because the Constitutional Court has powers to listen to matters which were below the lower courts. The Supreme Court judges, who sat as a full bench, have since said that it is up to parties involved to take the matter to the Constitutional Court. This means that Mr. Nakachinda will make a fresh application before the Constitutional Court, which with a stay to hold sittings in the High Court. Meanwhile, Mr. Nakachinda has told QTV News via telephone that the word that went round that the Supreme Court sitting in Kabwe has maintained that Dr. Nevas Mumba is the right president of MMD and that his group is to appeal to the Concord should not be taken serious. The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, has in the first 3 months of 2018 collected 794 million kwacha in tax revenue. Speaking during a Lusaka Chamber of Commerce breakfast meeting, ZRA Commissioner General Kingsley Chanda says this is above the target of 10.4 billion kwacha. Mr. Chanda says all taxpayers registered unprecedented increase above the 2017 efforts. He says compared to the first quarter of 2017, ZRA has increased its collections by 33% against revenue projected growth of 12% based on the 2018 macroeconomic indicators. Mr. Chanda says at this rate, the authority is very optimistic of meeting the 2018 revenue collection target. Mr. Chanda has warned that ZRA will consistently impose maximum penalties on the tax evaders without fear or favor. Mr. Chanda has since called on Zambians to change their mindsets and develop a culture of being tax compliant. He says the authority will in 2018 start a program of rewarding compliant taxpayers.
As the main revenue collection agents for the government, we are committed to ensuring that we play our rightful role in domestic revenue mobilization and enhancement of our country's financial independence. This will enable our government meet its obligations under the 7th National Development Plan and also ensure that Zambia meets its 2030 vision of transforming the country into a middle-income one. On a separate note, I wish to inform you that during the period January to December 2017, ZRA collected a total of 45.9 billion in gross revenue and refunded 6.7 billion, thereby recording a net revenue of 39.1 billion, which was 1.53 billion or 4.1% above the annual target of 37.6 billion.
The Drug Enforcement Commission, through its Anti-Money Laundering Investigations Unit in Eastern Province, has arrested and jointly charged a 48-year-old female magistrate and a student for being in possession of counterfeit notes. Wendy Juliet Tembo, 48, a magistrate of Shimukunami local court in Lufonyama district, has been arrested and jointly charged with O'Brien Banda, 30, a student at Makeni College of Education in Lusaka, for being in possession of counterfeit notes amounting to 7,900 kwacha in 100 kwacha bills, contrary to the laws of Zambia. The duo was intercepted in Sinda district of Eastern Province. In a related development, the Commission in Lusaka has arrested and jointly charged a human resource officer at the Supreme Court and 3 others for being in possession of counterfeit notes. Ruth Chavinga Piri, 39, a Supreme Court human resource officer of 392 Bema Road, Chilenje, has been arrested and jointly charged with Brighton Chongo, 54, a former banker of 34 Block 305 New Chifundo Road, Chawama. Mulako Mukwazo, 26, a legal assistant at the Zambia Airports Corporation Limited, residing in Kaunda Square Stage 2, and Naomi Piri, 32, a registrar clerk at the Boma local court for being in possession of 20,000 kwacha counterfeit notes. DEC Public Relations Officer Teresa Katongo says the Commission has since seized a motor vehicle Toyota Noah, a safe containing black paper cuttings, containers containing some liquid suspected to be used in the processing of counterfeit notes, and clear plastic bags containing an unknown substance in powder form. Ms. Katongo says the suspects are currently in police custody and will appear in court soon. The recent financial report has revealed that Zambia has for the past 3 years recorded a low pass rate of only 40% in the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants (ZICA) profession. The report on the observance of standards and codes accounting and auditing also indicates that there has been a reduction in the number of students registering for different levels of ZICA qualifications, from 10,728 in 2010 to 8,995 in 2016. The report has attributed the low pass rate to the low level appreciation of the value of accountancy services and the low brand value of the profession. Speaking during the launch of the report in Lusaka today, World Bank Director for Global Governance Practice, Ed Okere, noted the need for African countries, Zambia inclusive, to put in measures that will improve the accounting profession. Mr. Okere has also emphasized the need for African countries to have legislation that requires companies to prepare, audit, and file financial statements. He has, however, commended Zambia for adopting international standards for accounting and auditing in both the private and public sectors.
For instance, based on the declarations by the 52 professional accountancy organizations from 42 countries that are members of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, as at December 2017, there are 101,000 accountants living in Africa. The countries that are members of PAFA, 42 countries in Africa. And 70% of these accountants are in Nigeria and South Africa. With the remaining 10% in Kenya, and then the remaining 20% in the rest of the 38 or so countries. I'm advised that in Zambia, also based on the ROSC accounting report that was recently done that there is a drop in the number of the students that are registering for the SECA qualification. That there was a drop from 10,728 in 2010 to 8,995 in 2016. You can see that I'm trying to go to the exact figure because I'm also an accountant. And that the low pass rate and in the examinations could have all contributed to all of this. But we think that there are things that the accountancy profession can do in terms of encouraging people to really appreciate the value of accountancy profession.
And speaking when he officially launched the report, Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, said the country is on the right track in improving financial management in order to support the socio-economic development of the country. Mr. Yamba has reaffirmed government's commitment in successfully implementing the recommendations of the report findings so as to strengthen accountancy and auditing practices in the country.
Even as we meet today for the Roscoe A&A report launch, the government teams, with the support of the World Bank technical team under the Mount Donor Trust Fund, are working on the public financial management reform strategy 2019 to 2022. That will form the basis for the next round of public financial management reforms. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am glad that the country is on the right track in improving public financial management in order to support the socio-economic development of the country. I wish to reaffirm that government will successfully or will endeavor to implement the recommendations of the report findings, which will strengthen the accountancy and auditing practices in the country and ultimately contribute to the achievements of the country's 7th National Development Plan, especially enhancing conducive governance and business environment by improving the quality of financial information and developing human capital.
You are watching QTV Main News at 19. Just now, we take our first commercial break. Stay tuned.
In its endeavors to give you exquisite service, Rwandair is back with more frequencies and better timings to connect you to Johannesburg. Take off from Lusaka at midday and return in the afternoon from Johannesburg every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, and take advantage of our affordable fares, which go as low as 4,200 kwacha.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Since 1988, Penmarks Limited has been a leading supplier of local and imported stationery, printing and office furniture in Zambia. Penmarks has developed an impressive client base from leading financial institutions to NGOs and established businesses throughout the country. With over 33 years of experience on the market, we have the expertise and staff to meet a high volume of supply for any organization. Our range of products include stationery. We are appointed agents in Zambia for Mondi Rototrim A4 and A3 bond paper. We are an appointed primary distributor for Big Stationery. We are licensed distributors of Delhi Stationery. We also supply whiteboards, HP and Canon printers, toners and ink cartridges. Printing. We have both digital and offset printing machinery, digital printing and offset printing. Our range of office furniture includes solid wood executive desks, managerial and secretarial desks, 2-seater and 4-seater workstations, mesh chairs, leather chairs and filing cabinets. At Penmarks, we have the professionalism and expertise to meet all your business needs. Visit our offices situated at plot number 831 North End Cairo Road, Lusaka.
Thank you for staying with us. QTV Main News continues. Police in Chalimbana have picked up the headless body of a 3-year-old boy who had gone missing. In a statement, police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the deceased has been identified as Tunashe Mumba. Ms. Katongo says the report was made by Michael Mumba, age 28, of Suchembe Farm along Great East Road, a caretaker that his son, aged 3 years 6 months, had gone missing from home on 8th April 2018 at about 14 hours. She says the body of the child was discovered yesterday in the bush 50 meters from the parents' home by a member of the public who was heading cattle. Ms. Katongo says the police visited the scene and picked the body, which was taken to the University Teaching Hospital mortuary. She says police suspect that where the body was found is a secondary scene, as the murder could have happened somewhere before the assailant dumped the body where it was found. The police spokesperson states that police have since instituted investigations in the matter. She has appealed to the members of the public who could have helpful information in the investigations to report to any nearest police station. Independent Churches of Zambia ICO's board chairperson Bishop David Masupa has apologized to MMD faction leader Dr. Nevas Mumba that the church was unable to give him the necessary support during his incarceration. Yesterday, UPND Vice President Geoffrey Mwamba accused the church of abandoning Dr. Mumba in his hard times. But Bishop Masupa has told Q News that the church cannot abandon their own irrespective of their standing in society. He says Dr. Mumba's incarceration happened within the shortest period of time, therefore it was difficult for the church to even pay him a visit in prison.
And you may also realize that he was taken to a far-flung prison. So this made it increasingly difficult for many clergy to travel in a very short notice to see him. However, we are very sorry and we are with him in the spirit, and we would never neglect him. You may also realize that there were other clergy who traveled immediately, and one of them is my older brother, Bishop John Mambo. He was there, and he represented all of us when he went there and indeed encouraged him and prayed with him. You also may realize that the following day, he started now fighting for his bail. So he was not even in jail per se. He was in jail for 2 days. Then later on, he was ever up and down to see to it with his lawyers that is bailed out. The church will never neglect their own, irrespective of what kind of condition they are in. Even if they commit murder accidentally, or knowing or unknowingly, we will never neglect our own bishop. And
People's Alliance for Change PAC President Endiford Banda has charged that if President Edgar Lungu and UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema are indeed committed to dialogue, they cannot even ask for a mediator. Mr. Banda says if the two leaders indeed were committed to dialogue, they cannot demand who should spearhead the dialogue process, because what is important is the result. He says when Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga committed to making peace, they never sought for a mediator in the process. He says this is the kind of commitment that the people of Zambia are expecting to see from President Lungu and Mr. Hichilema. Mr. Banda says if the two leaders are not comfortable with Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID, and Commonwealth to spearhead the dialogue process, then they should allow the Catholic Church that started the whole process.
If we take a leaf from Kenya and we see what happened between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Honor Raila Odinga, they just met and discussed without anyone to mediate. But it's like here we want to make the issue of who to mediate to be a very complicated matter, when this is just a straightforward issue. Look, even when we talk about dialogue, what are we talking about dialogue? Because it's like we're just talking dialogue without actually looking at the real issues. Because whether with a mediator or without a mediator, there's a target that we want to achieve out of this dialogue. And by the way, this dialogue is not just about two parties. It's about each and every stakeholder, including us as the People's Alliance for Change, especially those people that participated in the last elections. What are we talking about? What we're talking about is the issue of who. We need to understand why we are here. The reason why we are here is because of the grievances that came from the last elections. What are the grievances? We are talking about the issue of the Public Order Act. What reforms do we want to see in the with the Public Order Act? We're talking about electoral reforms. What reforms do you want to see in the electoral system?
Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, ZICA, has affirmed its commitment at ensuring for the profession's growth in the country. The latest report on the observance of standings and codes accounting and auditing revealed that there has been a reduction in the number of students registering for different levels of ZICA qualifications from 10,728 in 2010 to 8,995 in 2016. And the country has for the past 3 years recorded a low pass rate in the ZICA profession of only 40%.
For instance, based on the declarations by the 52 professional accountancy organizations from 42 countries that are members of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, as at December 2017, there are 101,000 accountants living in Africa. The countries that are members of PAFA, 42 countries in Africa. And 70% of these accountants are in Nigeria and South Africa. With the remaining 10% in Kenya, and then the remaining 20% in the rest of the 38 or so countries. I'm advised that in Zambia, also based on the ROSC accounting report that was recently done, that there is a drop in the number of the students that are registering for the SICA qualification. That there was a drop from 10,728 in 2010 to 8,995 in 2016. You can see that I'm trying to go to the exact figure because I'm also an accountant. And that the low pass rate and in the examinations could have all contributed to all of this. But we think that there are things that the accountancy profession can do in terms of encouraging people to really appreciate the value of accountancy profession.
The Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, SESTUS, has observed the need to compensate pupils with more days in schools to catch up with the hours they lost due to the delayed opening of schools for 2018 first term. SESTUS General Secretary Stivekiso Wamuyua tells QTV News that the union appreciates the additional 1 week given to the learners for this term, saying surely it is not enough to cater for the days they lost in January. Mr. Wamuyua says it is not easy to recover the lost days that the pupils were subjected to in January this year. He says some schools remained closed for a month, saying that it is not easy in recovering the lost time and thus the need to compensate those lost days.
Having said that, I know that if some schools had lost even 1 month, it will not be very easy for us to recover that 1 month at the rate of 1 week per holiday. How many holidays do we have before schools open, before pupils, especially in examination classes, write their exams? We only have another holiday, which is August. So this means we may not really be able to recover the entire period that was lost by the extension of the holidays. Now, what does that mean? It means that ourselves, unfortunately, as teachers, we have to find ways and means of increasing the mitigating period, or finding ways of compensating for this lossy period. What other time, not as teachers, we are highly trained and we have a lot of initiatives and even surviving skills. We know that sometimes we teach in environments where even the learning and teaching materials are not available.
The Zambia National Union of Private and Public Educators of Zambia, NAPEZ, has welcomed the decision by government to move forward the closing date for schools. The Ministry of General Education has moved the closing date for schools to 20th April to cover up for the time lost during the cholera outbreak. NAPEZ National Secretary Nelson Mwale has since encouraged learners, to especially those in examination classes, to take advantage of the delay in closing schools to prepare adequately for their examinations. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwale is saddened by the failure by some parents to inculcate good morals in their girl children. Mr. Mwale has observed that Some young girls have continued going to school dressed indecently. The behavior, he says, should not be condoned.
And so we have a situation where a girl child is being dropped by a parent like myself, dressed in a manner that is lacking decency, and we will allow them to go in classes and learn just like that. I think there's a lot we need to do as parents, and let's not be very quick as parents in blaming teachers that they are not helping in additional morals to our learners. I think as parents we need to do a lot. Our task is, remember, can we inculcate good morals? Because we've seen the tracing of a number of our girl children especially leaves a lot to be desired. And like I said, I really want to agree with the District Commissioner for Kitwe. What is prevailing in a number of schools is a regrettable scenario. Having said that, I want to now thank the Ministry of General Education for the extension they've done to the running of the term. I think this will help a lot in terms of a number of schools that were kept closed during the cholera epidemic. And so, thank you very much, Ministry of Education, for listening.
The National Restoration Party (NARAP) is displeased with the manner in which the ruling Patriotic Front (PF) and United Party for National Development (UPND) are handling matters surrounding the spearheading of national dialogue. NARAP spokesperson Walia Nondo tells QTV News that there is no way the two political parties should be dictating who should lead the process when there are so many political parties and stakeholders involved. He says dialogue is a national matter and should not be trivialized by the two political parties. He is of the view that the debates on who should lead the process are just delaying it further. Mr. Nondo further indicates that the two political parties should assume priority or superiority over the process as it belongs to all Zambians, hinging on corruption, the constitution, fiscal indiscipline, and many other national matters.
Things to say, we needed to sit down as a country, as a people, and address many issues that we are facing so that we can unite this nation, because there's so much division. But UPND and PF are still stubborn and they are behaving as if they are the only ones that are in this country. UPND is agitating that the Commonwealth must come and spearhead the dialogue process. PF is also saying, no, we want ZCID. Now, in any conflict management, everybody who knows conflict management processes, they will tell you that both parties must have confidence in the mediator. But from the look of things, UPND is not firm. I mean, they are not willing to have ZCID. PF are also not willing to have, the Commonwealth. And this is a confusion because they think the issue of dialogue is between PF and UPND. This is a national dialogue. We want to put it on record. That dialogue is a national dialogue, is not a PF and UPND project. These two political parties are going to plunge this country into chaos. Because number one, both camps lack real leadership that is needed in this country. We want to see people that are selfless. We want to see people that are determined to serve the people. Not people that are narrow-minded, people that are so selfish, people who just want to push their own personal agenda. Zambia is bigger than two political parties.
As we take our final break, let's have a relook at the headlines. President of the Republic of India, Sri Ram Nath Kovind, has arrived in Zambia for a 3-day state visit. The Supreme Court has given guidance that the former ruling party MMD's application be heard in the Constitutional Court instead as per normal procedure, and will, as guided, be filed with the Constitutional Court. The Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA has in the first 3 months of 2018 collected 794 million kwacha in tax revenue.
teens are taking over Fanta Marketing.
The world's moving. It's all about what's new. New tech, new rhymes, new fashion, new cars, new stars with new fans. Get Zip. It's the new cola.
It's Chill Club, you guys. I'm also broadcasting something. Looking for a lot of creations coming from you guys.
This is the Kids and Teens show that brings you all the fun, excitement, and of course getting to learn and sharing ideas on different things that surround us.
In foreign news, US President Donald Trump has promised a forceful response to the alleged chemical attack in Syria as Western leaders consider what action to take. Mr. Trump said the US was getting some good clarity on who was responsible for the incident in Douma on Saturday. Medical sources say dozens were killed in the alleged attack, but exact numbers are impossible to verify. Mr. Trump has also discussed the incident with French President Emmanuel Macron late on Monday, and both leaders expressed a desire for a firm response, the Elysee Palace said. Two senior judges in the Democratic Republic of Congo have resigned from the Constitutional Court in a move likely to undermine the transparency of elections in December. Neither have given reasons for quitting. The two jurists, Banyaku Luape and Jean-Louis Esambo, had a reputation for being independent. In 2016, they stayed away from the hearing that allowed the Electoral Commission to delay the poll that year. With their departure and after the death last weekend of another judge, Yvonne Kalonda, the Constitutional Court is down from 9 to 6 members. The DR Congo's government says there will be elections on the 23rd of December. That's 2 years after the expiry of President Joseph Kabila's mandate. And Yulia Skipro, the prison daughter of Russian ex-spy Sergei, has been discharged from hospital. The 33-year-old left Salisbury District Hospital on Monday and has been taken to a secure location. The hospital said it is not the end of her treatment but marks a significant milestone. Her 66-year-old father remains in hospital and is recovering more slowly than Yulia. Doctors hope he will be discharged in due course. The pair were taken to hospital on 4th March after being exposed to a toxic nerve agent, Nishvoshuk. NZ News at 19. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye. God bless.